How about now? We good to go? Hello? You guys aren't hearing the music though either, can you? Morlock, thank you for the sub. Have you not been able to hear the music this whole time? That's the real travesty. Just my voice and clicks. How about that? Okay, give me a second here. Apparently, my streaming settings have all defaulted themselves. Let's see. Boom. No music, just boy. Hello, everybody. It's been a while. 2 weeks. Oh, there it is. And what a perfect song to kick it off, right? Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. There's a lot of you in there. So, Mika, Liz, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub for 3 months. My God. Gone 2 weeks. I already forgot how this works. Oh, you know it. Also, my God, it's hot in here. You guys ever have this where it's like you go to shower? I just showered right now, and it's like by the time you get out of the shower and get dried off, you're sweating. That's me, 100%. I know Tyler gets that. We talked about it. CT, Cisco, Connor. Who else we got? Ninja Barney. I saw Noteworthy in there. Morlock. Shepherd Boy. Who else did I miss? Fusokan. I'm scrolling up here. Paxton Shepherd. Praxis. Plot. Is that everybody? If I missed anyone, how sad. I'm sure I'll see you again. It's called Summer in Rio. Oh, yeah. In Singapore, oh, of course. God, I would love to visit Singapore. One day. So, 4.0.7 news, right? The fond farewell, as I'm calling it, for Legendary Edition. So, as it turns out, my computer exploded and Ultimate Skyrim doesn't exist anymore. I'm just kidding. That's not true. Essentially, my hope is to get 4.0.7 out by today, likely in the evening. We're pretty much just waiting on... I'm kind of stress testing. I was actually hoping to do this on the stream. This is the 4.0.7 build in here. I wanted to just kind of make sure... give it a little smoke test, make sure everything is chilling, and at that point, we are most likely going to forward that build. I've cleared it with the Wabbajack team as far as I know, so they're kind of ready to receive the build, last I heard. Ninja Barney, will I be able to use my save game from 4.1.6? Maybe. It's always risky, Barney. I'm trying to think if there's anything super, super intense that might mess with it. You can always try. I would say that, like, what's the disclaimer that I always give, where you're asking for issues. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Worm's Tooth is gone. So, that might cause some problems, but it might not either. It's really just like a risk every time you change out mods and plugins and whatever. In a from one build to the next. New game is recommended as always, but you know, your mileage may vary. So essentially I'm going to make like a whole post about it, because you know, 4.0.7, it is the fond farewell. It's the last version that's going to be released on Legendary Edition, which is the version that started it all. And it's really the most polished version of Ultimate Skyrim that's ever existed. At least the LE version. The SE version is really more like a sequel. It's being built from the ground up. It has some fixes and stuff that carry over, or likely will, but it really is built from the ground up to be kind of a different beast. So call this Ultimate Skyrim 1, and SE will be Ultimate Skyrim 2. This is the last real update to Ultimate Skyrim 1, excluding anything that we need to do in order to keep it alive. So, you know, old mods being taken down, or just things like that, you know, take it offline. Those will be addressed. But that's the plan. I haven't played Worm's Tooth, despite having it in my build. It is as good as people say it is. Worm's Tooth is pretty cool. It's a bit wonky in terms of, or in the context of Requiem, and it does have some issues that just, at least for the sake of Legendary Edition, made it preferable to just kind of excise. I don't know. It's one of those things that is polarizing. A lot of people really like it. A lot of people are like, nah. I think people generally like it more than something like Falscar. But, you know. Oh, you know what? Here. Fuck this, actually. Take you. I'm going to close that. Skyrim. Oh, whoa. Why is Skyrim not appearing in this anymore? Okay, well, I wanted to show off some of the cool new launcher shortcuts. But, we can do that next time. Your words, what's the difference between LE and SE and the massively larger amount of plugins possible? Well, so this is one of the things that I'll talk about in the post that kind of goes over Legendary Edition. Essentially, it's like, here's Legendary Edition final version. Here's kind of what's going on with SE. Hey, JS Brando, how you doing? The real benefit to me of releasing 4.0.7 is that I can shift all of my focus back onto SE, whereas I've had to kind of split it between these two versions. So that's very exciting for me because, I mean, SE is the future of Ultimate Skyrim. There's it's an endless horizon of possibilities and just a million different cool mods, and it's just so much of an improved platform for just building a big-ass modded install. With that said, I want to level set very clearly that the initial version of SE, it does have additional features and mods that the Legendary Edition version does not have. For example, there's a lot more NPCs, population mods, things like that you can only really kind of do on Special Edition reliably. But in many ways, it is a beta. It's a direct port of the Legendary Edition build, minus some of the proprietary features that the Legendary Edition build has, probably. Really, it's going to depend on how well I can use the old plugins from Legendary Edition as a... what's a good way of putting this? It's difficult to take the plugins from the Legendary Edition version and just stick them on SE and have them work properly, because many of the mods they depend on are different. A lot of the mods that have been ported, quote-unquote, from LE to SE are, like Ultimate Skyrim, completely rebuilt. So it's not as straightforward as just, you know, I'm going to take the features that are in the Ultimate Skyrim plugins on LE, pop them on SE, and then carry them over. It doesn't quite work that way. But in general, so Shepard, for someone who's never played the LE build, will I miss anything by playing the SE version when it comes out? Maybe, technically. Like, if the SE will have some functionality out the gate that LE doesn't have, and LE will have some functionality that SE doesn't have. However, SE to me will be really like the preferred way of playing. I mean, if you want to, you can install both. Like the Wabbajack install, frankly, makes it easier than it's ever been to get the install up and running. It's very, very simple comparatively. And if you really want to, you can play both and kind of, you know, see what you like about either. But eventually my plan is for SE to completely encompass all the features that LE has that I want to carry over. And then, of course, it will expand. McLovin Balls. Yes, there will be a list of mod changes for 4.0.7 that's going to be in the official changelog, which is one of the tasks that I get to do today. You know, building that out. So you'll have a full list, a comprehensive list of changes in 4.0.7, but it's not available at this exact moment. For food, are you sticking to Vitality instead of I need or I want? So right now, Vitality is in there, as you guys know. Probably know, maybe know. And it's like, food is one of those things that I actually have personal proprietary plans for. So I'm trying to avoid spending a ton of time on the food mechanics out the gate in SE, on SE. I have Vitality in there essentially just as a stopgap, we'll say. Something that gets the needs-based gameplay in there because I think it's a core component of the survival elements of Ultimate Skyrim. But eventually, you know, kind of down the line, that's an area that I plan on tackling in earnest. So excited about the NPC overhauls, the sweet SE stability. Oh, yes. The 18th of September. Do I know what that means? I do not. What's the 18th of September, CT? What you got for me? Do you guys know a research journal is crucial to spell research? Yeah, so SE, everyone's big question, of course, is the SE release. It's your birthday? Happy birthday, CT. That's awesome. Happy birthday to you. Have I crashed? No, I have not, Liz. At least I don't think so. This is the wonderful process ghosting, which actually I might be able to change since we're on LE, since we use Wabbajack. It's just frozen. This is running off of an external SSD, so... Actually, you know what? No, it's an internal hard drive, which is probably even slower. See, there it goes. I recently switched from iNeed to the Need system built into CSEO. It just doesn't scratch the same itch. iNeed on SE is just so freaking buggy. Yes, that is my concern, Shepard. I would, because, like, iNeed does have some cool features that really are not yet replicated by any Needs mods that I know of on Special Edition. Also, we're going to have to watch out, make sure we don't get a bunch of crazy stuttering on the stream here. The EMB, that is. But iNeed on SE does have some issues. Frankly, iNeed on Legendary Edition has some issues as well. We've just spent a lot of time kind of adjusting them and patching them. And when it comes to development prioritization, right, I don't want to spend a bunch of time fixing a Needs mod that is just going to eventually be replaced by our own proprietary solution or by an altogether different solution. So it's tricky, right? Everything has to be prioritized. It's been a big part of improving our development pipeline. Happy birthday, CT. Man, it's so crazy to be 20 years old, isn't it? I'm excited to see your ideas for a Needs mod. Will it be US only, or will you put it out as standalone? It's very, very likely going to be Ultimate Skyrim only. Just because, I mean, it's the same way with a lot of the more complex proprietary systems in Ultimate Skyrim, both that exist in LE and the ones that are, you know, still kind of theory crafted. No, please feel free to keep with the questions. The purpose of these streams is really for the questions. Because working during the streams is, you know, I can always work more efficiently when I don't have to split my brain between chat and the stream. I'm not very good at multitasking. I kind of have to focus on one thing at a time. But, here, let's pop in. The thing about these complex kind of mechanics, as I started to say, is that they can only really exist because... Yeah, CT, I was joking. It's a stupid joke. They can only really exist because of the baseline, a bunch of different mods that, you know, Ultimate Skyrim uses that the user's guaranteed to have on their computer. So, you know, let's take like a Needs mod. It's going to have to use every single food record from every mod that's in the lineup. And, you know, that's going to create a lot of dependencies. Oh man, look at these lips. What is going on there? Beautiful. That said, sometimes it's possible to decouple the mechanics from those elements. It's just gonna, again, be a question of, is this possible? Is it worth the time? You know, most things are possible. It's a question of whether, what value are we getting versus the time expended. Promise that'll go away in a quick second. So that's Requiem's like attempt to zero out like the darkness, or like create this kind of darkness effect as it runs its operations. What's up, everyone? How we looking? Tremendously stuttery? A little bit stuttery? Not so bad, but I'm running this in 2K. Bet if I do this, it's a lot better.
I think you should continue with
So,
performances.
Here's Ani was able to do that manually adding non-vanilla foods in game. Maybe that was part of it. No, I mean that part's easy, Shepard. What you're talking about is Ani just having a message box prompt where its scripts will essentially just add, foods to a form ID list. Then it then recognizes, characterizes. Form ID lists are literally just big old lists of records, and the way that I functions is it essentially has a form ID list for like every type of food that it covers. So like medium, or like large food, medium food, low food, soups, drinks, like things that qualify as hydration, things that qualify as alcohol. And whenever it has something that doesn't recognize, you manually put it into one or the other. But that's also, that might be, we might be able to proprietarize our food mechanic that way, but that's like the kind of thing that I don't. It's like half the reason why I do what I do is to make sure like prompts like that don't pop up and kind of interrupt your experience. So let's go ahead and pop out here. Hold on a second. Speaking of we're going to turn it off because I don't want to move slowly. Basics disabled. Boom. And then I'm going to go ahead and... Am I wearing heavy armor? I am. I thought so. Okay, well... Boom. Is that loot and degradation? Is it the lighter version of the mod? What are you talking about, Yosi? We do have loot and degradation in here still. Sup, yo? Gambler? I'm good. Thank you. So, some of you might notice that we are running... One of the kind of big features, quote-unquote, of 4.0.7 is a switch to Suki ENB, which is a more cutting-edge thingy. Right? More cutting-edge ENB with some additional features. I've edited it for performance and for appearance and to give it Night Eye support by default, which is really cool. I can show you kind of what that looks like. Honestly, wouldn't mind the pop-up prompt. It gives me freedom as a player to add more food mods. I understand the US spoken on immersion. Well, so like if you used iNeed, like the way that iNeed works here is if you add a food mod to, what's it called? To, Ultimate Skyrim, like that pop-up will still be there, so you have that. But the other thing is that, especially moving into SE, and especially since moving to Wabbajack, the focus of Ultimate Skyrim will be definitively users who do not customize the install. Let's see how chonky this is. Not bad. Kind of the goal here is to lower the accessibility floor as much as possible so that we can get as many people playing as possible. And for the sake of our support staff and just, our sanity, customizing installs will never be officially supported. We will have the, little channel on the Discord and stuff like that, and like resources for helping people customize their installs, adding, removing mods if they so choose. But that really can't ever be the priority because we really have our hands full will have our hands full supporting what I anticipate will be a large number of users who will be able to play through the once we switch to SE and you have a larger user base, and two, when we're using Wabbajack, it vastly simplifies this installation process. There's another mod that almost does the same thing called Equipment Durability System, just doesn't have as many features. Oh yeah, I have that running on SE, Yosi. Ow. It's pretty good. It in some ways, it has features that Loot and Degradation doesn't have, and it's implemented differently. I might use it, and I might actually keep Loot and Degradation for its NPC looting. That's like a whole thing I got to take a look at. But we can kind of showcase what's it called here a little bit. Suki EMB. Someone asked if yes, Snowfall Weathers is still present. Yes, it is. So you still get all the weathers from Snowfall. It's just running on Suki EMB, which I think is really beautiful. It really is kind of a next level for some people. I think it's going to be. I try to make it so that it's about the same level of performance, about the same frames, so to speak. But I don't know. We're gonna have to kind of like wait and see. Am I running? I don't know what preset I'm running on here. If it's high, medium, or low. It feels kind of like I Actually, I can check really fast. Yeah, high. That's what I thought. Triumvirate Mage Archetypes. Yeah, that's Enai's new mod, right? That adds, like, different spells for... Why am I... Oh. Different spells for... What's it called? Like, kind of mage archetypes, like druids and whatever. It looks fucking awesome. To be honest with you guys, my attention... Well, also, the past couple weeks have been pretty wild. You know, I've been gone for the past 2 weekends. But the development time that I've had has been almost solely focused on, what's it called? Legendary Edition, just to get it out. Like I said, we need to get it in the rear view so that I can shift all of my focus to Special Edition. Wow, look at that. Let's go ahead and show off some night sky, shall we? Game hour 20, which I think is really cool. So, you got slightly brighter nights. That's something that I tried to address because I got some feedback that the nights and interiors were a bit dark, especially on Yield 4.0.6. So interiors are still dark. It's really the consequence is of that, or like the reason it's like that is because of Realistic Lighting Overhaul, the light bulb mod, which, you know, we've talked about it a million times. It makes lighting more realistic in that, you know, it's less ambient and more point-based lighting focus. So like a fireplace is going to give off light. If there's not anything else in the room, nothing else is going to give off light. But Skyrim was built with ambient lighting in mind, so it can get very dark. I'm trying to find a good compromise for that on Special Edition. But as of right now, we can test Night Eye, and then I'll show you guys kind of what some interiors look like so you can get an idea. Ever end up trying that Sneak Sprint Slide mod? Not yet, Murlocking. I have not. Seems cool, though. It seems cool as long as I can use that version, the lighter version, that doesn't, like, send people flying. But otherwise, it's just me, or I'm playing so many games now, first-person games, where I can run and slide, that it feels weird not being able to. Like all of your Call of Duty Warzone, your Apex Legends. Let's do Night Eye. Player to add spell. 6B10E. I think this is the spell version, not the racial version. Let's see how this goes. So there's your Night Eye. It's, you can still, like, in shadowed areas, it's a bit dark still, but I think in general makes it a lot easier to see, and it's definitely more effective than the what's it called, the previous Night Eye. And of course it features the Suki features support for ENB based Night Eye, and I went in and customized it and blah 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 blah. So we've got it running here. Oh, we're getting an Aurora. How about that? Most gorgeous Night Eye I've ever seen. I tried to make it really nice. It was one of those things that, like I said, I got that feedback that, you know, the Night Eye didn't work by default with ENB, and I was, at first I was going to, like, leave it, but I was like, all right, like, if we're going to do 4.0.7, we might as well really, like, hammer on it and, like, make it as usable as possible. And shipping without a functional Night Eye, like shipping with that shortcut key that you guys used to have to do, right, where instead of it just working with ENB, you just have to, like, turn your ENB off for a second. That sucks. It really should just work out the box. So that was good feedback, and now we've got this going. I think it looks pretty nice. And it's tricky because you have to define the attributes for nights, interiors, and daytime separately. Daytime doesn't really see any changes, as you can imagine. Or at least I didn't really, like, implement any, but nighttime and interiors have to behave a little bit differently, just by virtue of how it's built out. But it wasn't too bad. Okay, like here, I'll show you Ember Shard real fast. How about the Vampires and Ellie playing V and Requiem sucks? I mean, it's still default, Cisco. There's no, we've not added anything to, you know, 4.0.7. Really, for Vampires, I mean, the focus of 4.0.7, the mods that have been added are quality of life. There are things like interface tweaks, there are fixes for, like, bugs here and there. You are not going to see any sort of, like, major feature additions in 4.0.7 at all. If anything, oh god. Yeah, see, there you, what's the, so here's, interiors. DSIDD tries to get dark, right, at the beginning of each area. Using TK's racial body morphs, is that not compatible with Requiem? I believe there is a version. We used to use it, and then there was like an issue with it, and then now I think there's an edited version that is, it does work, but not here on Legendary Edition. So here's interior Night Eye. Essentially, the other thing that I wanted to do with Night Eye is that I always hated the default implementation of Night Eye in Skyrim, that kind of blue filter that you get. Also, like the kind of weird hazy edges around the screen, if you guys know what I'm talking about. It just sucks. I think Skyrim can be a very vivid and colorful game, especially when you use mods and shaders and things like that. And to me, it just sucked for like vampire characters, for example, having to just, you know, if you spend most of your time in the dark at night, you just have to view the whole game through this like muddy blue filter, and it sucks. So I wanted very badly with these Night Eye edits to maintain that sense of contrast and color so that it's basically not gross to look at all the time when you're going to be spending, you know, 90% of your gameplay time looking at it that way. Hello. Yeah, so there's a lot of really nice kind of graphical effects in Suki that just kind of run on their own. Things like subsurface scattering and... Don't kill me. Just improved point lighting. What's up, guys? Whoa. Do I have a... Ow. Stop attacking me. But, so you can see this is the darkness of interiors at night. If I change the game hour, it should get a little bit brighter. Yeah, so you can see it adjusted itself a little bit. That's just kind of like ambient light based on time. Whoa. Whoa. Ow. Nice hit. That was... I respect that. That was a good one. Anyway, you guys are dead. But, what was I saying? Something about blue light. I don't remember. Who cares? But yeah, so this is Night Eye interiors. Ambient lighting based on time, whatever it is. Hey, Bloodwolf, how you doing? The passing by to give you my sub. Have a nice stream. Oh, well, thank you very much, Bloodwolf. Show up a couple inns at night. Yes, sir, / ma'am, / however you identify. Let's go to... I think we started an inn. That would have been good. Whiterun Bannered Mare, the classic. Yes, the blue light. So what that is called, Murloc, is it's a image space modifier, which essentially means that you are seeing an effect that is not in the game, but it's almost like a visor that you're putting over your face. That, you know, it's like, if you guys are familiar with filmmaking techniques, gels, a gel is like it's essentially just like a piece of plastic or like a tape that gets put in front of the camera lens to give it like a certain color or feel or something like that. That's how an image space modifier works, and that is E&B Night Eye works differently, because what it's doing is adjusting the actual post-processing values, the shader values, which produces a similar effect. It's just like a technical implementation difference that really doesn't matter all that much for, you know, the end user's purpose. Go set game hour to 0. So this is midnight. So here's the Bannered Mare at night. I think it's a lot more visible. One of the things I try to address with the 4.0.7 edits is that, you know, the inns were very dark. This was probably the most constant complaint that we got was the inns and just kind of a lot of the places that you go being just way too dark to even kind of function in. Like, you shouldn't have to hold your lantern out in the inns, right? So we try to address that. Finn, 4.0.7 win. Hopefully by the end of the day. That's the plan. Finn is on the team, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. Can we get a glance at Blackreach? Sure. Let's go to another inn real fast. Like one of the... how about Morthal? Moorside Inn, I believe it is. Just so we can see one of these, you know, templated inn types. Is the Night Eye for vampires the same as what you're showing with the spell? Yes, Engineered. This is like the default kind of Night Eye for everyone. So these places are a little bit darker, a little bit dingier, but hopefully still kind of workable. You can still see more or less, you know, and my monitor's pretty dark as well in general. It's like kind of hardcore contrasty. And there is like an auto contrast. Like you'll see if I'm looking at this fire, there's some tone adjustments where that kind of back corner is harder to make out. But if you step into the light, there will be a slight adjustment to kind of help your eyes simulate the eye adjustment. So hopefully you guys find that workable. Very good and very atmospheric. A lot better than 4.0.6. Thank you guys very much. This time Dylan will release something, then I'll leave. Oh, are you leaving this weekend, Finn? So my plan, guys, is to get this out, today or at the very latest tomorrow. And that's because I have a free weekend, actually, where I don't plan on doing anything besides kind of being here. So I'll be on standby just to make sure everything goes smoothly and we can support anyone who might have issues. It's a brand new installation process. So if we're going to encounter questions, I think that would be kind of it's sensible that it would happen then. Going to British Columbia tomorrow, then back the 24th. Hell yeah, Finn. Have fun. Oh, Yosi, I saw your question about the dungeons, the expanded dungeons. I have those in my download pile on Special Edition. Looks very cool. This is not Distinct Interiors, actually. This is just pure Perseids. The Perseid Inns and Taverns are real slick. They are, frankly, I mean, there's a reason that I've never... what's it called? Or that I've kept it around in the installation. It's always been like kind of a favorite of mine. And I'm especially stoked because what is it on... Is it like... I can't remember which mod on Special Edition is compatible with Perseids, and it adds like bathrooms to the various inns, which to me is just like, beautiful. Alright, Black Reach up next. Black Reach Origin. Or is it just... Okay, I thought that was correct. Keep It Clean. You know what? You might be right. It might be Keep It Clean that adds that, because we definitely use that over bathing in Skyrim, which is really cool. Oh, but to answer your question about... No, I got that one. The dungeons. Also, my god, I'm so happy. I think I mentioned this in the last stream, but the... like... Cryptoper, so I don't know how or why or what the deal was, but Cryptoper evidently has the permissions from Cabal to port all of the, or most of the Amidian texture mods. Oh god, I have God mode on, right? Okay, I do. Sorry guys. Blah. You done. So here's Black Reach. I've seen some streamers keep it clean in bathrooms. Okay, that makes sense. It does kind of like fit within the scope there. So we can see our Night Eye interior. So, a lot more visible. IMO. It's, it's... One of the limitations of doing Night Eye this way is that there is still going to be... you're always trying to balance, right? I'm trying to balance, like, the color fidelity with, like, the contrast. As long as you have contrast, there's going to be areas that are still kind of tougher to see in. So, like, the dark shadowed areas will still, like, this is kind of hard to, there's the wall in the back, here's the pile of dirt in front of me, and that's not exactly a super clear visual distinction when you're not moving. It's kind of, so it's not always going to make it so that you can just see perfectly in the dark, but I think it's a very functional compromise, and also much better than just viewing the whole game through that kind of blue, muddy lens. That was like an issue I always had with the what is it, Batman Arkham Asylum games, which are for all intents and purposes like very fun games. You have that detective mode, right, that you are expected to go into a whole lot, and it's like you have to, it's like half the time you spend in this game you're just looking through this like blue and orange filter. So yeah, here's Black Reach. A lot of shit in the air. It doesn't really look safe to breathe. But, yeah, that's 4.0.7. You know what we can do? This might be fun. I can show off the installation process for you guys, because it's pretty fast. I'll show you kind of the basic situation for it. But before I quit out, is there anywhere else that you guys would like to see how it looks? Just while I'm still in here. Black Reach California Edition. My god, ain't that the truth. Dishonored, same issue. Dark Vision, yes. So it is it's a tough design challenge, because on the one hand, you understand the need for like a vision mode that kind of highlights, points of interest if it's a game like that. These open world games. Can you go on top of Whiterun looking over the district? Want to see the FPS? Well, so Murloc, what you're seeing here as an FPS benchmark, you shouldn't use. Right now I'm in 2K. I'm streaming. I can go there to see it, show you, but it's what my FPS is here. You really shouldn't use as an indication for your own hardware. But we can take a look at it. It's not going to be very high. It might be somewhere, honestly, between 15 and 30. Or maybe a smidge over. That's about average for what it used to be, too. So, I don't know. Computers are weird. I got my my brand new 3080 in this computer. It's not true. I don't have that. Did anyone get a 3080? Did you guys hear the real sketchy thing about the Nvidia's like 3080 pricing? Someone loves trying out new mods. How easy will they, since SE is using open cities? Standard won't be officially supportive. Someone with a lot of experience implementing not making mods will affect what I have. Always avoided open cities since it has so many incompatibilities. So unfortunately, Shepherd Boy, open cities is rough on compatibility. Of course, it really depends on what mods you're talking about. As you might imagine, if the mod that you're trying to add edits cities or edits the placement of things in cities, etc., that is going to be an issue. There are some tools available to help you kind of bridge the gap. There's like a series of scripts that will help you just move stuff from, individual origin world spaces of the cities into the open world spaces of just, the open world. But even that is not entirely, in some cases you can't just do that and call it quits. You gotta be, I don't know, once again, it depends on the mod that we're talking about. So here's your spot on top. You can see streaming running in 2K on my poor old mid-range computer here. I shouldn't say mid-range. I have a good graphics card, but oh my god, is my processor and my motherboard old. And my RAM, of course. But yeah, so right here we got, 22? If I turn E and B off, 5-frame difference, 4-frame difference. But you should expect higher than that, depending on your hardware and depending on what resolution you're running in, of course. Went to Micro Center yesterday for a 3080. There were 50 people outside an hour before release. The store had 30 cards and 15 more in shipment. People really want a video game during a pandemic. That is true, and I suppose they have the time to kind of go there. So I heard this crazy thing, in fact, here. I'm going to quit out now. Is that... Oh, no. Soul Karen really fast. So here's the sketch stuff that I was talking about. So apparently there's this theory, and it was propagated by this journalist who spoke to... It's a source that's been knowledgeable and proven correct for him in all different kinds of, stories about graphics cards and computer hardware. I don't know if it's someone who works for NVIDIA, or it's definitely someone within the industry. This journalist was very clear to say, I'm not definitively saying this is true that NVIDIA is doing this. I'm just saying that I have this source who has never failed me before. I have no reason to believe that they don't know what they're talking about here, and everything they've said to me in the past has ended up being true. So just take that with a grain of salt. But apparently the Founders Edition cards that NVIDIA is putting out now, what this person posits is that this massive shortage is absolutely by design, and the reason for that is that the cooling systems that are on the 3080 Founders Edition, the one that went out, to us and to YouTubers for reviews and whatever, those cooling systems are pretty expensive for NVIDIA to produce. So they are getting a profit margin of about 40% on each card, and apparently NVIDIA typically likes profit margins of about 60% minimum. So the idea is that they are shipping this very limited amount of 3080s with these cooling systems that produce the lower profit margin, so that they can secure all the glowing day one reviews that are often the reviews that people go and look to even further into the card's life cycle to gauge whether or not they should buy it. So you have these Founders Editions that are at, $700 MSRP that are released pretty much only for reviewers, and then they'll be unattainable. And then later this year, there's going to be another round of cards that have slightly more VRAM, and they're going to use that slightly more VRAM to justify a price hike. And also those cards will not have the more expensive cooling systems that these cards have. So essentially, the way that the journalist and this source characterize it is having their cake and eating it too. They want to get all the dank, golden reviews for the price point of $700, and then release cards after the fact that are slightly less efficient in terms of cooling and more expensive, so that they can get that 60% profit margin. And if that's true, that's fucked up to me, because that is a lot of work to intentionally pull the wool over the eyes of the consumer. And I know that it's like when we saw these price points come out, it was like, hey, maybe Nvidia has learned their lesson a bit about kind of the greedy price points that we saw with the last series, the 2000 series. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it's like that's the image they're trying to portray, but the reality is still the same. And that's worse to me. It's far worse, because that's intentional deception, if so. And I'm just like, yo, I hope that, I don't know, like if that's true, like I want people to know about it, because fuck them. Hardware, the FE are about $150 too cheap. Each AIB is getting a $50 kickback on each card they sell. Well, that would support what this journalist is saying. So I suppose we'll have to wait and see. It just strikes me as one of those things, right, that like people who care are going to be like, oh, this thing is happening, like this sucks. And the vast majority of consumers are not going to have any idea, and then just get donked. Soul Karen. God, I hate all the cells from Dawn Guard. They're always super weird. Help DLC 1 Soul, maybe? Soul Karen Merchant. Give me cells. Sell. Okay, well that'll get us there, I think. Oh, I spelled it Soul Karen. That's not how you spell it. Any news on if you include Legacy of the Dragonborn SE or not? Sorry we talked about this. Haven't been keeping up with the streams. No worries, Darvin. It's one of those things that's a future possibility for sure. I wouldn't exactly call it high priority, but the first release of SE and the subsequent releases after that, my whole plan, for SE releases is to get that initial build out, and then to do just comparatively more frequent iterative releases, right? So we'll see. That's a big one, and it's not exactly, there's a lot of things that I'd rather do before I throw in Legacy of the Dragonborn. Kane, how you doing? If you're integrating sewers of Skyrim Underground missives, then I'm good. Skyrim Underground, not by default, but I really want to later. And I still have Night Eye on, by the way. No, I don't. Actually, it's just bright here. I thought I did. So here's the Soul Cairn. Pretty cool if you ask me. I kind of like it. Withered Shrub. The weather here looks way cooler than I remember. Is this snowfall doing this? This like fog? Because it's awesome. I think this is actually preferable to what we currently have on Special Edition, because I've been to the Soul Cairn on Special Edition. It doesn't look this cool. Oh, well, I mean, it's definitely like a fog effect. Interesting. Theory sort of falls apart. See what's game is. Oh, shit, I missed that. Cars are out there, just not nearly enough for demand. Probably haven't seen Black Friday levels doing back in April is usually a dead time. Maybe sitting home during pandemic. And it's caught and market sports expensive. It's an iPhone X coming out that $200 uptick in phone price doesn't hurt sales, right? Moore's Law's Dead puts a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Is really anti-Nvidia, so take what he said with a grain of salt. Okay, well, I mean, that makes me feel better, because I don't want to dislike them. I was just as hyped as everybody. Well, these look weird, don't they? What is this cube mapping? Weird. I mean, it's kind of cool, but definitely odd. Ah! What's up, dude? Can you not? What's up, bro? Cool model. Stop. Why is this? Is that E and B? Why is this happening? Oh, he must be using Ice Wall or something. Bro, stop. High five. You dead. Alright, well. Also removed a ton of videos from being false and sketchy. Okay, well that makes me feel better, to be honest, because again, I like when the price point, like obviously it's way better for us as consumers if we have Nvidia being chill, producing great hardware at reasonable price points, and then the same from AMD. So I want that to be the case, and I mean, my God, I want a 3080, but you know. It's just I don't want to be had. I don't think anybody does, and I'm very like just anti-consumer practices suck balls. You know, it's one of those things that it almost just hurts on like a philosophical level because it just sucks, dude. Like, you know, like capitalism and all that. People got to make a profit. I understand, but to disenfranchise and defraud the people who purchase and believe in your products, that just, ugh, it just like skeeves me out that exists. Did I kill you? Oh, sorry, dude. All right, anywhere else, guys, before we go through the installation process? A lot of it's true. AMD and Nvidia are in a battle. There's a lot of one-upping between the two. Where we have right now, both companies are scared. Yes, it's great for consumers. Exactly that, Halgari. I totally agree. And it's kind of cool because, like, I don't know. It hasn't been that way for a while, it feels like. Oh, Invisible Entity, for sure. The defraud, like consoles, they took a hit knowing they'd sell it more. These cards don't stop working the prices. I'm saying it would be defrauding if what they're doing is if they're trying to gather, intentionally, like put out a scarce amount so they can get a bunch of great reviews at the $700 price point that they never actually plan on being a price point that anyone will reasonably be able to attain the cards at. That would gross me out. I mean, really, I guess there's always the argument that consumers need to be responsible for their own purchases, which is true, but also I think companies themselves have a responsibility to be as forthright and honest as possible, and that to me would not be that. Just accepted Harkon's gift, got a Daedric Greatsword from Mayroon's Shrine. Hell yeah. Good job, Chainsy. Alright, let's see. Help. Liz, do you know... Is it... What? That will tell me. Yep, Invisible Entity. Okay, first of all, y'all can fuck off. And now, playset me. 9143 D7 1. Soul Torn Entity. So these are invisible entities now. I think he looks weird because we're in the Soul Cairn. Whoa. 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 Can't hit me. Ow, you hit me. Okay. Interesting. One in Pelagius Wing. That's true. Center on cell. You know, I didn't know that means center on cell. Okay, why does that not show up? What's the Pelagius Wing cell then? Which mod was used to replace iEquip? Oh, that's another change. Well, so iEquip on LE has just been removed, unfortunately. Gamers Nexus kind of debunked that point. Suppliers said they have more product than ever for any launch, but in the middle of nowhere, they saw Black Friday like demand. Okay, well, so like I said, if that wasn't the case, good to go. If we just have a bunch of, you know, thirsty gamers who are trying to get their hands on some cards, then hell yeah. I mean, that's just how it goes, and especially in quarantine, like you said. But yeah, if it was intentional on the part of NVIDIA to, you know, make a price point and a card that they didn't really actually expect anyone to get, and they only wanted it out there for reviews, I would have been very sad. There is one in Pelagius Wing. How the fuck... Is that in the Blue Palace? Right? Simple drop lit torches replaces iEquip torch function. Yes, it does. Blue Palace Wing 01. Let's try. Blue Palace Wing 01. Issues, lack of planning for demand, lack of bot prevention. I heard that they were trying to they were like manually reviewing all the purchases or something, right, Finn? Ugh. Oh, I heard someone pull their like a weapon out. Stop. Okay, do I have a weapon I can just kind of bash these guys with? Gotcha. Are we in the right place here? Speaking of Pelagius wings, invisible entity will change. I was yeah. So there is a change to invisible entities, as you saw. Yeah. See, here's one. So they're like, it's not the official change from Requiem, but it is you know, you can see them. So this is kind of the, because we're not updating Requiem, right? Look at these fuckers. Ow. Look, we're fighting a soul torn entity at level 1. Look how well it's going. So they look like this. If you're curious. Alright. Anyone else? Any other things we want to see before we go through the installation process? Also need more water. Yes, better than just the straight up. I mean, the actual Requiem solution seems really cool too. It's like they only show up when they're attacking. Which I think probably preserves the vision a bit more than something like this. But this is cool too. At least you can see them, right? Not just like one-shotting you. Is there a mod to show the character's favorite weapons? You're talking about like a equipment overhaul? Not on Ellie Wilson. Guy on PC Master Race, so they wrote a bot to make a load of fraudulent eBay bids on people. I saw that, Chainsy. Slightly different note. Can't wait for Sky Oblivion actually needing enchanted or silver weapons for ghosts. I agree, Yosi, and hopefully you will also need enchanted or silver weapons for ghosts, or like, hopefully those things will matter a lot in Ultimate Skyrim too. Slided are pretty cool. Issues so the board partners have very little time to get everything done, which definitely goes on NVIDIA's head. Like all geared up. Well, so I equipped all geared up. You can't use on Ellie either, Wilson, not in the context of Requiem. It has the same problem. Hey Sacroletius, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. So my thoughts on Skyrim. Will you play it when it comes out? I would love to. I mean, I will for sure. I don't know if I'll be like streaming it. It really kind of depends on if there's a demand for that, like from you guys. Like if you guys would watch me stream it, I would do it. But I plan on playing that. I definitely plan on playing Sky Oblivion. Following the development of that very closely. Also following the development of Beyond Skyrim, of course. Just all the, you know, all the cool tertiary projects that are going on. Working on Windhelm. Is there a point at which you're never not working on one of the major cities, Sacroletius? Did that make sense with the double negatives? I can't check it. Okay, well, let's do it. Yeah, Skywind looks really cool. Loads of cool mods, like all the Beyond Skyrim mods. Can't play any of them because I can't play anything other than US now. That's very sweet of you to say, Chainsy. Yes, he's working on Morthal instead. I guess that is technically not a major city. You are correct. When all city mods are merged. Yeah, but then you know that you're going to keep adding stuff to them. There's always going to be something to add. There's a remake of Fire and Ice Overhaul for SSE. Yeah, we tested it, Cremento, on one of them. Thought there was some kind of all geared up thing on Requiem or US. Balian has it in his build. Who knows how he manages to implement it. Well, so All Good on Special Edition now bypasses the Mass Effect issue. So you can do it on Special Edition. I don't know if... Is Balian playing Special Edition or is he playing Legendary? Because if he's playing Ultimate Sky, yeah... That's weird. Oh, I don't. Maybe he found a solution. I mean, he's a very talented modder in his own right, so it's possible he figured something out or found something. Bum, 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 bum. Apollo Downs mods are back. Yes, they've been freed of their purgatory, and I think their permissions are open now. So you're starting to see people porting them over to Special Edition or like creating reduxes. Was the mod he just named for SE that works? I couldn't get anything working myself. It's called All Good, ALLGUD, which stands for... It's like all geared up derivative or something. We can look it up right now. I'm going to play my Morrowind soundtrack. There it is. All Good. Yes, all geared up derivative. Here it is. Boom. Wow, crazy. Wow, look at this logo. Impressive. Okay. Well, here. Let's do this, shall we? So here's what I'm going to do. I have this. I'm going to delete this. All this. So essentially, this is the current Ultimate Skyrim build that I had. The 4.0.7. Works for me on Ellie as well. So that's probably what he's doing. He's probably ported it back, or somebody else has. We're elevated to a new plane. Rust upon us. US has made me such a lazy modder. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. It's an iteratively or permutatively more complex task adding new mods to a build that already has a ton of mods, because there's just so many different things to consider, depending on the type of mod, of course. Works with CBBE, so I can get it in my list. Attempted to make an animated bowcasting mod. I failed. Successful in updating my LCD brooming patch. What's bowcasting? Animated bowcasting. So like, Anordil, what is up, my boy? Thank you for joining us. I have my little notebook here. I really need to empty my recycle bin too. I'm gonna run out of fucking room. Come on, baby. What exciting stream content this makes for, right? Can't believe it's already Friday. I went to, so 2 weekends ago, I was with friends from college. We all got ourselves coronavirus tested and then did our annual trip for the fantasy football draft. And then this last weekend, it was Liz and I's anniversary, so we got out of town and went to Big Bear for the weekend, which was really nice. Tried to make the most of it in between coronavirus and fires. Lots of fires happening all around us. You can just sit down and play almost a perfectly modded game for such little effort. It's very nice of you to say, Chainsy. Cast spells and using a bow. Oh, I got you. Smoke yeah, it feels like the apocalypse in some places, that's for sure. My good friend lives in Portland. A couple of my friends live there, and they are both posting all these pictures of just, you know, the sky on fire. Cities annoyed. They also replace all the original interiors. They're a modless nightmare. Oh, yes. That's like Sacroletius' bread and butter type of edits, though. I swear. Like moving things around, world spaces, nav meshing, mashing stuff together. Okay, so I have this kind of set up. I'll show you guys the new install page. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. This is the new install page. It's all just truncated on a single page now, right? So you have installing Ultimate Skyrim, same requirements as before listed. Actually, a couple less here. I need to add English requirements here because we've had some issues with that. But so essentially, step 1 is run the game, right? You guys know that step. Step 2 is just the install. So we have a kind of pre-packaged folder structure with a executable from Wabbajack that will automatically download the latest version of Wabbajack. You will have, what's it called? You open up Wabbajack, browse the mod list section, like here. That's where Ultimate Skyrim will be. Excuse me. It's not there yet because we don't have the current build like officially on the UI until the release, but it's listed here just because that's what the instructions are going to be. And then you will just let it work its magic, and then it just installs, and then right after that you fucking throw there's a file or a folder that you just have to drag and drop into your main game folder, Skyrim folder, and then you're done. Oh, and then you have to configure ENB local, of course. Everyone's favorite step, configuring ENB local, where you get to do math. And that's pretty much it, besides the MCMs internally. I can't see any of the chat here. Well, it's dark. You can do this. Not using Automaton anymore. No, Chainsy, this is the first ever version that will use Wabbajack officially, just because Methril has discontinued development on Automaton. But there will be a whole... One of the things I wanted to do with the kind of farewell post is talk a little bit about the history of just like all the little apps, and just like when Meth started first building out Automaton, its send off alongside Ellie's send off. So here's my release. I should be able to just run this. Curiosity, just how accurate does the ENB local math have to be? I can't really tell you, Monique. I don't like. For me, like right there, it's inaccurate. The version we were just running, my EMB local is set to like what's the reserved memory size is like 30,000 or something, and like the actual number that it should be is somewhere in the ballpark of like 31,000 some hexadecimal derivative number. And it seems to run fine, so I don't know. But you definitely want to be in the ballpark, I would say. Me local tinkering ain't hard. I don't know why everyone hates it so much. It's just like a clunky, like what I'm trying to do as closely as possible or as much as possible is get this build to the point where it functions the same way like a regular ass game does, right? Which would be like most games, you have an executable, you click the executable and it plays, or like maybe it gives you a little launcher that has some options or something and then it plays. That's what I'm trying to do for Ultimate Skyrim eventually, and the whole process where it's like, you know, it's as automated as possible and then you just play. So kind of opening up a, you know, it's not an issue for most of us who are like proficient modders, or at the very least like journeymen, or even if you're like a modder at all, like opening up an ini profile or an ini configuration and adjusting a couple settings is not that big of a deal. But really the people that I want to get playing are the people who like have never modded, don't know what any of this shit is, people who don't configure things and who don't whatever. They just want to play a cool ass game experience, right? And for those people, I'm happy that, you know, on what's it called, special edition, you don't have to configure your ENB local at all. So it's just real nice. Oh yeah, whoops, opened up over here. So here's Wabbajack, right? I have the target mod list. The other thing that's really cool, this is just like a nice little touch that I've noticed like since building this out a million times. I love that the app remembers the directories that you put in, or like when I go to build out the list, Halgar, if you're still in the chat, I love how like every time I go to rebuild this mod list, it just remembers all the shit that I already put in there. I do not have to fill it out like a million times. That was primo touch. Love it. So this is going to install to that little spot that I showed you. This is all covered in the instructions. And if you have this is a question I get a lot. Can you utilize your existing install, or will you have to download everything all over again? If you have, we all got tired of entering that 1,000 times during testing, as all the best improvements are, right? Iterative, based on testing. What was I going to say? If you have all of your old downloads from your previous versions of Ultimate Skyrim, you can direct your download location to the folder that contains them. This is what I've done, essentially. And so it will just utilize them and create another install. So you won't have to re-download anything that you already have that Wabbajack will recognize. Is Requiem out on SE now, or Ultimate Skyrim? You have to convert it yourself. If you're just showing out the final... Okay, hold on. Ult Sky SE coming with the unofficial Requiem port. It's still kind of up in the air, Craxer. Ogre Boss, the lead Requiem dev, just posted an update saying that they had completed... It's been rough for them working on Requiem because Ogre Boss recently got a promotion. He has like a ton of stuff that he's doing right now. But he mentioned that they completed like a ton of back-end kind of maintenance, you might call it, just kind of truncating their repositories and just kind of making it much easier and more organized for them from a development standpoint. And he said now is the beginning of just directly porting over Requiem. So it's entirely possible that by the time I have to touch Requiem, there will be an official version. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see. It depends on how quickly they get that out. There's just still plenty for me to do on Special Edition. I'm still conflict resolving, going through. And then if I kind of choose all those NPC appearances, that'll take a bit of time. Not too much, though. I'm pretty far through it. It's Requiem out on SE. Also, it's the same question. You're showing out the final version of LE before switching to SE. Yes. So this is the final fond farewell version of Ultimate Skyrim on Legendary Edition. That we will be leaving behind as we shift our focus entirely to Special Edition, which I'm very excited about. ZZG vanilla-like bodies end up working out for you, BB. I don't... Anordil, the ZZJ vanilla-like bodies. I don't think... Is that like when we were talking about the all the underwear stuff? Those bodies, I haven't looked at it in a long time. That's probably the last time I looked at it, was when you and I were talking about it. God, do you guys ever think that I just talk way too fast? Sometimes I do. I'm trying to keep up with chat and I can't multitask. Just wish Mod Organizer 2 could handle bigger download folders. My download archives close to 2 to it. Can't point. Oh, yeah, I mean, like when you're talking about when you fire it up, Monique. So, fun fact there, I mean, it might still affect you, but this version of Ultimate Skyrim includes these little shortcuts that you can just you just click them and then it launches. It doesn't even need to open up Mod Organizer 2. So it might still take a second because whatever that kind of the processes you're talking about might still be taking place behind the scenes, but it's quicker, more direct, I think. You think you'll continue Wraithen's story? I very much would like to, Chainsy. What I will most likely do is start it over, kind of reboot it. Maybe take it in a similar direction. I would like to I don't know. There's some things that I would like to be in there before I tackle Wraithen, like some plans that I have for him. But at some point, I'm going to revisit him for sure. You post the planned mod list for the SE version before the release to check some of them outside. I don't understand the question, Rust. Probably not. Or like I'll release the list once it's in like a definitive state. I can do. You got to ignore us from time to time. Oh, you have to ignore it. Gotcha. Nice shirt. Yeah, I know. It's great, right? Some shitty company that everyone seems to love. I don't know why. I'm just kidding. The PM exchange on Discord a minute ago. I feel you. Any manual install for pros. So the manual install, there isn't, Cisco. It's basically just at this point, you're installing the whole thing. And then if you want to customize it yourself, like you kind of build backwards from there. As opposed to building it from the beginning manually. Doing anything with MO2, even installing a mod takes ages. Not a huge issue. Just gotta keep each folder around 300 gigs or so. Everything going down a dark path and taking necromancy was really interesting. Yeah, so like that kind of thing is like I have a pretty definitive kind of a, what's a good way of putting it, like vision for his personality, at least like kind of when he starts out. And I just don't see any way that he doesn't kind of hit some of those hard points. You know what I mean? You don't have those level of maladjustments without making some questionable decisions as a result, which is what makes him, frankly, an interesting character to me. I mean, he's someone who is damaged and flawed and means well, and I think that's a great great cocktail, great recipe for some interesting character stuff. Revive Hjulfrid in Special Edition Old Sky, maybe. Who knows? I mean, really, Hjulfrid could use some additional attention too. There's a lot of stuff that she thinks, or I think she would be able to do on Special Edition once some of the features that I have planned are in there. Someone needs to convince Sorcerer Dave to try out Old Sky SSE when it comes out. Well, so if anyone's going to be doing that kind of thing, that's what I mean. Where it's like even the beta versions, part of me is like pained by the idea of putting out any version that doesn't have like all these features that I know I'm working on putting in there. But I think if most of them are there, it's suitable. And then I don't know. There's going to be. It's just okay. I have in my head, of course, this vision of all of these different features and mods and roleplay options that I know are going to be there eventually, like things that are definitive, like yes, this is going in, it's just a matter of prioritization. And so that's what I'm constantly comparing, playthroughs to in my head. It's like, oh, I don't want to do a playthrough until like this is there. And really it's I don't know, it's the flawed Mona Lisa perspective, and there's really no reason, like as long as it's serviceable or gives you a lot of different roleplay tools that are already in like the basic version or the current version of LE, I think there's plenty to make a playthrough out of. But I think that if there's YouTubers and stuff who make these kinds of like roleplay Let's Plays and stuff, there will be a lot more things for them to kind of sink their teeth into as we start moving into like version, the second beta or like the third or the fourth on special edition. I think that the first special edition version is going to be more for users who are already Ultimate Skyrim users and kind of just want the special edition experience. And then at that point, I'm really going to start adding in new kind of like gameplay mechanics and stuff. A big one for me, this is weird, but like the two really, really big ones that I'm probably going to tackle first are like jobs of Skyrim and then real estate. Anything that allows people to kind of role play or just do shit that's not straight up combat. And oftentimes, it's a means to combat eventually for a lot of characters, but like I just want to allow players to do, what's a good way of putting it? Just to do all the shit that you would reasonably be able to do in this world where there are plenty of people who do not kill shit all the time. There's plenty of people who are not murder hobos. Yeah, make the money without killing everything. If you want to be Nazim, if you want to buy a farm and then like run a farm, like I want you to be able to do that. I want you to be able to, work as a blacksmith. I want you to be able to like invest in properties and like build a real estate empire. I want you to be able to build your own house somewhere in the wilderness if you like. It's all these kinds of like things. That dumb question, how easy will it be to replace textures without breaking alt sky? That is much easier, Shepard, typically speaking. It is textures are a lot simpler on the whole. It's really difficult to find a way to make money mean stuff. Like I've got houses in nearly every city, so I got 120k in my Imperial Mail account. Like why? Let's give like means or money should have like a purpose. It should be really hard to come by, and once you start to get it, you should be able to do cool shit with it. Like I think, a lot of people want money for the sake of money, but I think most people who stockpile money IRL do it for the sake of power, and like, okay, let's let people do that. Let's let people use all the money that they have. Let's let people invest in more and more fucking properties like across a city until they have essentially like a, like a hegemony over like a place. What about adding new world spaces or houses, assuming not in an existing city? You mean like player houses, like all the various player houses that are available, like from mods all around the world? If so, we got a ton of those on the list. I love them. Adding new world spaces is always on the table. It depends on the context. The cool thing about moving to special edition is that the fucking sky's the limit. There's quest mods, there's housing mods, there's all these different things. You have far less restrictive limitations on plugin count and like, oh my god, so many different things. You've included the landlord mod. No, see, landlord is one of the, I'm probably going to go with the real estate, and the real estate hopefully it continues development. Landlord has some pretty hardcore issues. It's a really cool idea. It's the concept I love. Is that the execution, there's some significant bugs that made us have to remove it. Can't wait to watch you remove static clutter from Ellie's house. Oh my god, Eddie's house mods. I'm not looking forward to it. But hey, maybe if I get good at it, maybe I'll find like a secret technique or just like brute force it enough to where it goes fast. That's how it's been with everything else. Oh, you mean Shepard? Excuse me, for you to add on top of Ultimate Skyrim. You generally can do those too. It's just that, once again, depending on the mods, like the more proprietary systems we have, the more incongruities there's going to be when you add in like a mod. Like for example, one of the things that I might do is implement, it's not U-Hunger, I think it's called Scarcity now. It has kind of these dynamic spawn points for objects, so that, there's not always just like food everywhere. Like sometimes there's a weapon here, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's this weapon, sometimes it's not. I really like that system just for having kind of like placeable spawn points for dynamic kind of, you know, experiences between characters. And let's say that we have all the different item spawn points functioning that way. You add in a housing mod or something, it's not going to have that same functionality because it hasn't been edited by us to do it. So a lot of the time, that's not a huge deal. Sometimes it is. Sometimes the inconsistencies are like obvious and annoying. Can't wait to watch your moose stack. Likely functional, wildly inconsistent. You talking about Landlord, Monique? What are we talking about? Why didn't you add hunting in Skyrim for LE? It's not compatible. I saw you add an SE. That's why I wonder. It's because it's a large scale mod, Capel. It's a big ol' undertaking, and it's feasible for SE because we're kind of just starting from the beginning with it in mind. But this, once again, 4.0.7 is not about adding big new mechanics and features. It is about just tightening what's there, fixing bugs, making sure that the functionality we provide functions as it's supposed to, and just providing a polished version for anyone who, well, for the time between now and Special Edition, and for anyone who decides to remain behind on Legendary Edition for whatever reason. I don't, like, honestly, I think that's going to be very few users comparatively, but there's going to be some, so it's kind of like a goodwill update, if you will, just to fix the stuff that we knew was broken. Of course, Shepard. Once again, any of you guys got questions, I'm giving you full permission to ask me. That's what these streams are for. It's for me to connect with you guys and figure out, you know, what's going through your heads. Anyone know if ESF Factions is available on SSE? It is not Anordil, but it is portable, and it is ported on Special Edition. Ryan Constantine, I would just like to complete the game for once. Those playstyles sound good. It's crazy we invest in playing blacksmiths or merchants in Skyrim. Content with the work you've done so far. Thank you very much. I'm proud of the work that we've done so far. I think it's really cool. I just, once again, I have a tendency to get wrapped up in the future vision, right? But that's because I really believe in it. I really have in my head just this idea of like, oh my god, if we added this and this and this, like, oh, that would be cool. It'll just like, it'll be even cooler. And so I have a tendency to kind of live in that space. It's what keeps me excited, frankly. Just feeling like there's always something more to add. And I mean, sure, eventually that won't be the case anymore, right? Like eventually, in theory, it'll, you know, get to a point where it's like, okay, like this matches the vision for it or whatever. But like, oh my god, there's so much to do between where we are now and where that is in my head. Roleplay, has anyone heard about the game Medieval Dynasty? I just bought it 2 days ago. Felt like throwing a Kingdom Come universe to your stuff. I've heard of Crusader Kings. The third one just came out. Oh my god, guys. I need a haircut very bad. This is the longest my hair has been in a long time. Look at this. There it is. This is what my hair looks like if it just grows straight down. And it does. Plan on adding Triumvirate to SE, the new spell package of Enai. I've seen it, Capel. Someone was asking about it earlier. It's really cool, and it's one of those things that I have no reason not to add. There's a lot of Enai mods that I feel that way about. Or at least, like, I don't know. There's potential like compatibility, like balance issues. We can always address those. I've said this a million times. Enai, I think, has a very, very strong handle. His design philosophy is extremely effective at making things fun. And if that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right, is having a good time. So yeah, boom. If you guys weren't watching, that was the Wabbajack install. I clicked it once and it went. And so now installation complete. What you do is you open the install folder, and this is all in the instructions. You have game folder files here. This is everything that goes in the core game folder. Go Skyrim. You're going to copy those over. It's going to overwrite. Replace the files in destination. Yes, please. Also, let me adjust my ENB local real fast. Okay, it's already set to 30,000. And then you have, what's it called? So now it's installed, and then you have these shortcuts here. which you can just launch the game directly. We'll launch it. Hi. Done. This is done. Can't wait to jump to SSE. Even just for the stability. Yes, Chainsy. Haven't finished a playthrough of Skyrim once a minute. I have never finished a play. I've never beaten the main quest organically. Yosi, not once. I've never beaten Dawnguard organically. I've never beaten Dragonborn organically. Anordil, oh nice, an unofficial port of it on Nexus. No, not really. I mean, just, well, so like what we can do is make it, like, port it ourselves, right? Like, here's what happens. You have the baseline port on Nexus. On my own local machine, I mean, really, there's not even any changes that need to be made. It's like you what's it called? Save the plugin as the other form, 44 instead of 43 or whatever it is, and bing, bang, boom, it works, right? And that kind of stuff is something that Wabbajack is capable of replicating on the user's machine. So, like, it'll automatically make sure that you have the form, correctly adjusted form version on your machine when you install it. Lost a number of times I picked up Villia and Sophia and walked to Riverwood. In my case, it's either time constraint or new game catches my attention. Even now, I have a character I want to try. Cyberpunk will release in 2 months. Considering this, I'll probably never get to complete this game again. Could be. I mean, completing it is fun, I'm sure, but thus far, I've been satisfied with not completing the game. I mean, it still held my attention for this long. Obviously, for slightly different reasons, because I'm kind of like building blocks on top of it, but yes, it's about the journey, not the destination. Worst case scenario, Wabbajack can pull files from... Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is we can't just rehost or, like, you know, we can't redistribute a version like an SSE unofficial port. Nexus has taken a pretty distinct stance on that, and, like, no one... Even if it's like the author wouldn't care or something, like, it's not really something we have the right to dictate. So no redistribution of stuff we don't have explicit rights to redistribute. I've beaten Skyrim on PC. I've beaten a few times on the PS3. I feel you. The most superior version of Skyrim. No, I know. Don't start a new game. Here you can see it's the exact same version that we were just running, because it should load this. Wow. Guys, there you just saw the whole install. That's literally it. And that's it from the perspective of someone who already has the downloads. The only difference, if you don't already have the downloads in like a previous build of Ultimate Skyrim, is it'll take slightly longer because it has to download all the mods in addition to installing them. So, oh yes, that is true. You still have to do the MCM, which I have not done here. But the MCM is slightly quicker. We've kind of tried to default some settings that we can default. It's still kind of a pain in the ass. You guys know how it goes. But it is very slightly less of a pain in the ass. And that is something, oh my god. I have high hopes on Special Edition to automate as much as possible in the MCM. I don't like it. I want it to just be that way by default. So there you go, everybody. That's a good point, though, Dravenus. So, what's the hardest area in Ultimate Skyrim? Probably, I mean, area, maybe the Soul Cairn. No, probably the Dragonborn Hermaeus Mora place. What is it called? Apocrypha. Why not just include a pre-configured save? Monique, pre-configured saves are just a little wonky. There's randomized elements that get pre-baked into them. It's just generally not like a good practice. There's a note about them in the install guide. It says you can do this, but it's just, you know, kind of the other reason is that, like, so I was actually thinking about it. It's tough to do with our performance profiles because you would have to manually install the pre-configured save in like the what's it called, the my documents folder. It's just kind of like a weird like sketchy process. I don't know. It's I just kind of leave it to everyone to do at least one time, and then just in keeping with best practices. And if they want to make their own, then they can. If more mods use FIS, yes, that would be great. But even then you have to go through and manually add each one. MO2 does support profile-specific saves. Yeah, see, that's kind of the problem, where like you turn on profile-specific saves. In that case, we can actually ship the save directly with the install, right? However, it makes it so that when you have, like, let's say you want to play on high, and then you're like, I'd rather play on medium. Your saves on high won't transfer over to your save on medium, which is like not great because there's really no reason why they can't. I actually talked to the MO2 devs about this, like asking if it was possible to, instead of having profile specific saves, just like manually designate a different global save location. And it doesn't seem possible as of now. I don't think it's something that they're particularly interested in adding. But if they do add that one day, it would be possible to do the pre-configured saves. It just ended up being more trouble than it was worth. And, you know, this is a Legendary Edition depreciated version, and the issue won't really exist on, what's it called? Special Edition. Did you copy paste saves from one to another? Yeah, I mean, you can do that in the same way that you can copy paste, you know, a provided save anywhere. It's just, once again, the people that we're targeting, we're trying to make it as foolproof as possible, so that none of that stuff is part of the official process. What Legendary Edition kind of needs to be, it needs to be this rock solid build that functions on its own without creating, I mean, ideally any overhead for our support staff, right? Because everyone, like Wabbajack support, our support, everyone is volunteer. It's not a job. It's like something that they do when they feel like it and when they can spare the time. And so I try as much as possible to create as few tickets for them like as possible, if that makes sense. And anytime we ask the user to do something manually, you're going to get more confusion, more issues, more errors. And in this case, I'm deferring to this initial setup is slightly more annoying for the user, but it's extremely easy to like direct them through, versus like, let's have them do this slightly more complex bit and, you know, potentially increase support overhead is kind of the trade-off. Frostfall and Campfire save load settings automatically too. They do. The big kind of promising thing is Yield MCM on Special Edition. Is it possible to add more mods via Wabbajack? No, that's not really what Wabbajack does, Wilson. Wabbajack just, its task is to install a list as it's pre-configured. I mean, you can install your own mods yourself through, like, here's a mod organizer.bat. This will just open up MO2. You can also just, of course, access the executable itself. It's just back here. This is just to make it simpler. So there's your regular MO2. You can add mods, remove mods. Just keep in mind, again, that fucking around with the official installation and then going to support, it's just not something that we can support officially. Will Abjack require Nexus Premium? No, it does not. There is, in fact, here I can show you. There is support if you don't have Nexus Premium. It is highly recommended, but here's what happens if you don't have it. Optional, here's step 8. If you're not a Nexus Premium member, this GIF will guide you through the manual install. So you go to start it, right? Asks you to confirm in the bottom right. And it'll essentially just bring, I mean, it's really like the best way you could possibly do this. Even shows you like which thing to download. But as you can see, you're looking at a much more laborious process. I recommend getting premium for this because it's just hands off. You can walk away from your computer and it'll just take care of the rest. Let's see how it goes. It's weird because downloads are such a long mod list are so slow. They're slow, and you have to click each one yourself, and it sucks. The enhancement guide will stay the same. Which enhancement guide are you talking about, Wilson? I think there's a couple that people have put together. If you're talking about kind of like the unofficial community enhancement guides that are around, they might change. That's kind of outside my purview. You got an early premium lifetime buy. Yeah, I have premium lifetime. I bought it like, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was whenever Automaton came out. I was like, yes, this is going to be worth it. And I mean, too, I want to support the Nexus for, you know, hosting all this shit and making it all possible as well. Sub for a month whenever I'm doing a bunch of modding to cancel. I mean, that's probably the more economical version. Also, good tip, your first time using Wabjack, keep a different folder separate for your downloads. You want to try different mod lists. You can do that as well. So, I mean, that's pretty much everything I had to show you guys. I might end the stream at 2 today just so I can get more time to focus on getting the build out, you know, by the end of the day. That's kind of my hope. Hopefully you guys understand. If you have any additional questions for me that I haven't covered already, or just any other thoughts and prayers and feelings, feel free to send them my way. Wasn't there some add-on for Sky UI allowed to organize the menus of the mods? If you use some of them a lot, they will always be on top. There is. I mean, there's you can do that manually in Xedit, and there's also a mod, you're right, that does it. You can fund your month of heavy modding if you have mods uploaded. Nexus has his mod points thing. Yeah, donation points. Thoughts and players. There you go. What are you most excited about? Talking about, I mean, in general, I'm excited about being able to fully focus on Special Edition. It's where I've wanted to be for a while. It was frankly questionable as to whether or not we were even going to do 4.0.7. I kind of fought with myself internally about it for a long time, tried to incorporate as much feedback as possible. Looking at how long it took now, I don't know if I necessarily would do it again, but I'm happy with what we have. I'm happy that it's the most polished version that we can leave behind. And I'm just really excited to, you know, to bid our farewell to Legendary Edition and then move to what is the future of Ultimate Skyrim, which is Special Edition. Is iEquip in US or will be in SE? It is no longer on Legendary Edition just because it's like kind of the iEquip devs are in the same spot where like it just became not worth it to continue maintaining the Legendary Edition version. So there are bugs in Legendary Edition that do not exist on Special Edition. It is still in Special Edition and it's just not in Legendary Edition. I've made a few in-game books that explain away some inconsistencies with Requiem. Oh, I love stuff like that, Chainsy. Maybe that'll let me have some premium eventually. Skyrim Mega Edition will be in PS5. Can't wait. Skyrim Mega Edition. I mean, they're probably going to re-release Skyrim for the new console generation, I would assume. Safe assumption. Why wouldn't they? Our boy Todd. That would be cool. It would be cool one day to have like a version of Ultimate Skyrim that was for consoles too. I mean, really, I just want to have as many people as possible able to play. But I could only really do that if there weren't like a lot of technical debt and like maintenance that went along with it. Maintaining two separate versions. I mean, as we found like with Legendary Edition developing Special Edition, maintaining two separate versions is a real time sink. Skyrim Special Edition Remastered now only with Bethesda.net mods. Wonderful, Finn. Are towns and city mods optional and mandatory for 4.0.7? Tend to disable them for higher performance. So it's the same, McLevin. There's still patches here, as you like. They're all installed, right? Like by default. So by default, everything is on, but you can pop into Mod Organizer here if you prefer, and turn off. What's it called? Where's turn off Dawn of Skyrim, and then where's Dawn of Skyrim? Dawn of Skyrim, boom. I mean, at that point, what you're gonna have to run, you can see like Dindu Law is not gonna work, Requiem for the Indifferent, anytime you're removing these plugins. If you're familiar with running those things, then you'll know how to do it. This is where it gets into the customization territory, where like this is not kind of like something we support like out the gate. It's kind of more at this point you can consider the whole like optional mods like from before. It's really depreciated, that idea. It's kind of just offered as like a singular monolith. But I will try to make, like, we do have some like Hazard was asking me to do this too. We do have some resources, like the old getting started page has some resources on helping people maintain their like rerun these patchers and things like that. You can use those. It's just, once again, it's not something we're gonna officially support in any way. It's kind of just like take it as it is, so to speak. Normally there's no way to translate Daedric in-game. There's no way to translate Astronaut Forge recipes or translation booking characters. My Conjuration Mage. Very cool. Search on Search on Beth Bet is fucking hopeless to write it for that in the Xbox Skyrim subreddit. Xbox to put together a list. PS complicated and allow external assets, which is so funny. It's like interesting. There aren't many mods available on PS4. I had Skyrim on the system with about 40 mods. None of them were close to what we have on PC. So really, even there, it's like, all right, then you're gonna have to build out a version that either is extremely minimal so as to play on both PS4 or Xbox, or you only do Xbox, which is like, okay, maybe it's not worth the effort, or you have separate versions for PS4 and Xbox, and it's just like, no. It becomes a whole lot to deal with. Guys, I might buzz my head today too. It's getting real annoying having this much hair in my face all the time. Listen to that. And then there's Skyrim on the Switch. Oh yeah, well, that's something that I got. So I love the idea of, you know, mobile Skyrim. I hate the idea of playing vanilla Skyrim mobile. So I have a thing. I've shown this off in several streams in the past, but hold on a second. Oy, 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 oy. Oh. When's Ultimate Skyrim coming to Switch? After a fashion. So you can mod the Switch, sort of. You can like hack it, but for me the simplest solution is to do something like this. People install streaming apps on their Switch. I have on my phone this bad boy. Boom. So this is my Razer Kishi, right? Get a gamepad for my phone, and then I just use Moonlight on. In fact, you know what? I might be able to do this. Let me. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Okay, I think that's good to go. Alright. So that should work. Here's what I can do. I can use Moonlight. We'll do this on Special Edition. Get you out of here. Here. This might be it. Let's see if we can get this working in 10 minutes. How's the delay on that? Every time I've done streaming anywhere but on local area network at home, it's been unplayable. If you, I mean, it's really good if you have a strong Wi-Fi point. If you're playing over like cell network, not so great, but it really depends on what game you're playing too. Like if you're playing, you know, a strategy, turn-based strategy game, honestly, even playing over like 4G is not that bad. If it's anything that requires, you know, actual Twitch skill, then you're going to want a Wi-Fi connection. I'm going to go, I think this executable. Let's see if this works. I think this will directly launch Special Edition. It is. Okay. Then here, let me do this real fast. I believe I have that set up on... No. Oh, is this why I haven't been finding Skyrim? Oh, no. Never mind. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Where's Moonlight? Is it safe to merge all your Ultimate Skyrim patches? I think it would be a bad idea. Maybe, I mean, if you really know what you're doing with merging, I would not suggest it. Because you already, like, there's a lot of plugin space already. Moonlight. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to go into NVIDIA, the GeForce Experience, and I add it through there. Oh, there's an update available. How about that? One of these days I want to make like a video tutorial on doing this, but it's essentially the end result of what I'm doing here is like modded Skyrim on your phone, on the go. Whoa. I'm not going to install that right now. No, why control panel? I thought I hit experience. Okay, here we go. Can I please add... No, don't scan for games. How do I add a new game? Isn't there a way to do that? Here. Game. View supported games. Add. I swear I know that there's a way to do this. Games. Here we go. Add. Desktop. Executable prototype. Sure. That's okay. Let's call that Mod Organizer 2. And now... Hey, Rerile, how you doing? I'm actually going to be signing off soon. Basically, just trying to get 4.0.7 out by the end of today. It's a momentous final version, right? Celebration of life for Legendary Edition, and the celebration of us being able to shift all of our focus onto Special Edition from this point onward. Moonlight, desktop, and Mod Organizer 2. Okay, this should work. This might fuck with the sound for what you guys hear, but I'm watching my mic. That should still work. Oh, wow, it's really getting weird because I'm streaming. Look at this. I didn't even think about that. But let's see what happens. You probably have noticed the SSE, there are a few mods that are saved in Form 43. You're downloading the Nexus might cause you. So that's what I'm saying. We can fix that, Anvar. Anything that's Form 43, if I adjust it on my end, Wabbajack will make the same adjustments on the user's computer as it downloads. So, no issue. This is very odd. It's really not liking the stream, but it should work still. And assume that it doesn't look like this when I'm not streaming. Or actually, you know what I might be able to do? That's the desktop, so it's not going to work. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is one of the cool things, is that if we make those adjustments ourselves, it will replicate the adjustments on the user end. Yep. It's real nice. I promise this works otherwise. Maybe I'll set up a... Oh, I can see the stream is freaking out too. I mean, this is... I don't even know how it's functioning at all. If I'm streaming also over our internet, and this is on our internet, connected via Wi-Fi, it's trying to display the exact same desktop visuals. Stream stabilized, huh? Come on. Where'd I get that bad boy? Works for all Steam games. Well, so this is just my phone, right? My OnePlus 7 Pro, and the Razer Kishi is just a USB gamepad that plugs into it, and it works for anything. You just add the executable via it hooks into NVIDIA's I don't even know what they call it, GeForce Now experience game stream service. It's Game Stream, that's what it is. So you need an NVIDIA card for Moonlight specifically, but if you don't have an NVIDIA card, you can do like Parsec. Parsec works really well as well. I like Parsec. But you're essentially just streaming from it's a method of streaming from your primary computer to any mobile device that's compatible, so that all the processing and all the heavy lifting takes place on your computer, so to speak. And on your gamepad, look, see? Wow, look at that. I'm controlling Skyrim. Go load, saves. This one, sure, why not? I don't even remember what this was. Was that playing from my phone? You can see my phone is for whatever reason, it's freaking out between the two different monitors. I don't know why, but I'm assuming because we're streaming. Finished making a personal compatibility patch between ETAC JKs and Arthmore's towns that conflict while finishing all the nav mesh. Oh yeah, Yosi. That is it's an area of editing that I'm gonna need to familiarize myself with. It's just kind of like merging these areas together and fixing nav meshes. I'm hoping Sacroletis is always super sweet in kind of helping me whenever I have questions. So I'm hoping he'll be able to help because he's kind of the resident expert. Is that coming from here? Boom. Now this might be a bit choppy for you guys, right? The whole EMB issue. But there you go. I'm playing it on my phone. Like, hey. That's why we need gamepad support. What's up? Oh yeah, this guy's watching me because I'm being weird. Pretty good, right? It's like, see, it looks like this.
Skyrim didn't have enough outsiders. Now we've got mercenaries.
I wish it weren't flashing for you guys, but you can kind of get the idea. I think it's really nice. Whoa. Pretty cool. So you just play wherever you want. You can play anything wherever you want. Hello. You're scary. Look at this beautiful farm. You're kicking that chicken. Kick the chicken. I'm sorry, your name is what? Ingo King Irsger's daughter. And a US SE Devstream today. I mean, this is basically what you're going to get, Cisco. Like I said, I'm going to probably close the stream out here just because I need to get the... Oh my god, what is that? What is happening? What's up? I'm going to kill this bear. Wow, he's a tough bear. You got it. You got it. Oh. Got him. Wow, who hit him? That was a hard hit. Good job, guys. Elder Scrolls Blades expansion. Yes, absolutely. God, could you imagine like a legitimate mobile Elder Scrolls game? Be pretty cool if you ask me. Anyway, that'll probably do it. Yes, it's like getting all this stuff set up was a real fun time for me. Here, I'm going to close Moonlight. How to do this. Like, actually what I do, legitimately, I haven't played, like, in a couple weeks. Like I said, the past few weeks have been pretty busy. But, did I close the game? I think I did. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, like, from my phone. It's actually, like, my preferred method of playing. Because, you know, it's an MMO that features gamepad support. Try playing from somewhere else, see how it is from a distance. So I play it all around my house. My Wi-Fi point is not amazing, but it's enough to work anywhere in our apartment. Like I said, if you go outside, then it's not the best if you're on 4G. Like, I would say anything that's like an action game, even Skyrim qualifies as an action game. Like, you gotta, you know, aim your bow and aim your spells and whatever. It's depending on how strong your signal is, it can be okay. If you don't have good signal, it's not going to be a great experience. But if you are somewhere, like, so let's say you're at a friend's house and they have Wi-Fi, you're good to go. It works perfectly fine. Feels great. And then you get this beautiful, what's it called? This thingy. Oh no, what did I started Dying Light. I didn't mean to do that. No. Don't do it. Jesus, what is that? 720p? Gross. No, don't do it. Stop it. Please, no. Dying Light, stop. End task. Did I do it successfully? I think we did it, everyone. Wow. Yeah, Dying Light's fun. Yeah, it works really well. And I was starting to say something else. I don't remember what. Oh, yeah. The Kishi is just like... I mean, if you're going to like sit and play for a while, you can always just, you know, connect a Bluetooth controller. That always works. And honestly, works pretty well. But this is for like when you're on the go. I also have, you know, just like games on my phone. This little guy, see? It's like, oh wow. Feels good. Good gamepad. Got buttons, whatever. And then you just, oop, this way. Just hooks together, fits in your pocket pretty easily. I swear I'm not sponsored by, what's it called? Razer. I wish I were, and then I'd be making money, but it's just a thing that I like, that I use, that I would endorse. I'm into, you know, you guys know I'm into little handheld gaming, fucking single board chip devices and shit. So anyway, with that, what time is it? 2 o'clock. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here, guys. Thank you all for joining me. Of course, thanks for the update, USLE, Dylan. Keep us busy until SE version. Of course, Yosi, I really hope you guys enjoy it. I do think it is the most polished ultimate Skyrim experience that we've ever had. I'm hoping to still kind of blow you guys out of the water with special edition. Maybe I don't want to set the expectations that high for the initial version, just because it's, again, it's the direct port. It's very much a beta or an alpha or whatever you'd want to call it. But I think it's going to be really cool being on SE in general, and it really is the future of Ultimate Skyrim. It's like the sky's the limit. It's just very, very dope, the stuff that we're going to be able to do, and I'm really excited to be able to focus on it now that LE is kind of in the rear view. So thank you guys for watching, for all the support as always. I will be back next week at the same time with another stream, and I will talk to you later. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. And if you want to see, just kind of, be aware of the Legendary Edition release, just hang out on the subreddit. That's where I'll post it. It'll be around. Just that'll be, when it's out, you'll be able to find it there. Thank you guys very much again, and I will see you next time.